Today I want to talk to you about the upcoming second orbital launch attempt of Starship and Super Heavy booster, specifically about the issues that the vehicle faced during the first launch. Some were less problematic than others, and the really bad ones SpaceX will want to have sorted out before they go again. So let's start off with the first one, which is the missing Raptor engines and therefore missing thrust that would have otherwise helped Starship ascend faster. Now for the initial orbital test flights, I would catalog this as a small issue. SpaceX and Elon have said multiple times that the vehicle can still reach orbit with a number of engines missing, at least during the test phase, and they actually account for this. According to Elon, at liftoff, Starship already had 3 engines shut down because they were not considered healthy enough to throttle up to almost full power. But the vehicle was nonetheless programmed to carry on with the launch because 30 seems to be the minimum amount of engines required for launching. For now at least. I imagine it will be another story when payloads are involved. We saw even more engines shutting down more or less violently as the flight progressed. But you know, Starship didn't need those stinky engines, it just kept going and climbing up anyway. So, obviously, this is an issue, but not the most pressing one right now. I don't think it will be a big deal if they again lose 2 or 3 engines on the booster during the next flights. Now, it will become a bigger issue if they still haven't managed to sort it out whenever they want to send payload into space and are targeting a specific orbit, but until then they still have a bit of time on their hands. You know, sometimes I wonder why they chose to use so many engines on the booster, especially when Elon is always pushing toward reducing complexity. You know, he always says that the best part is no part. We saw a great example of this with the second version of the Raptor engine. They did away with a lot of unnecessary plumbing and wiring. They could have chosen to build bigger engines with more thrust, like the mighty F1 engines that powered the Saturn V, and maybe cut the number of required units in half. Maybe down to 16? I mean, that's still a lot of engines, but even then, it would be significantly less than what they need now. But anyway, SpaceX probably has a good reason for this, and I just genuinely don't know yet. The next problem is their flight termination system. It didn't work as intended during the first flight. It took 40 seconds for the vehicle to break up after detonating the FTS. So they need to get that one solved before they can try another launch. They just can't launch without being able to destroy the vehicle should something go wrong immediately. During the first launch, it didn't pose any risk to anyone. The rocket was far away over the Gulf of Mexico, but you know, if the rocket decides to go the wrong way, potentially toward populated areas, you want to have that thing blowing up ASAP and not 10, 20 or 40 seconds later when maybe it's already too late. The next issue they absolutely need to fix before launching again is their launch pad, which to be fair, SpaceX is going all in on. Stage 0 is a buzz of activity right now, day and night. They have as many cranes and other heavy machinery as they can possibly fit on the launch pad working non-stop. They certainly seem to be pushing to try and make the 7 to 8 week Elon timeline, and even if they did complete the pad upgrades in 8 weeks, which for the record I think is highly unlikely, but still really hope I'm wrong, they would still need clearance from the FAA, which no one knows how long it's going to take. But regardless, SpaceX is doing its part, and they are working fast. The main goal is to install the water-cooled steel plate together with the deluge system, which is going to act as a flame diverter of sorts, and which we'll hope works. And even if it ends up not being the best solution, it shouldn't be as bad as the rock tornado, as Elon put it, that we saw during the first launch. If both pad and vehicle were able to escape that mess in more or less one piece, I think they are probably going to be fine with the steel plate. Unless the deluge system cannot produce enough upward pressure for some reason, and then Super Heavy shoves all that steam and hot gases down the pipes underneath the plate, then it probably won't be fine. Now imagine this, your new rocket launches, but it starts going sideways. Oh no, what do we do? Well, no need to worry because TVC is here to save the day. And what is TVC, you may ask? Thrust vector control. Or simply put, the act of moving the engines around to steer your rocket and point it in the desired direction. Now, during this Twitter interview, Elon told us many things we didn't know about the first test flight of Starship, one of which was the fact that at around 80-something seconds, the vehicle lost its TVC, so basically it wasn't able to steer where it was heading anymore and subsequently began its uncontrolled spinning. We also saw Starship lifting off the pad with a slight tilt, or basically leaning forward, which according to Elon was related to the missing engines on the booster. But luckily at that moment the thrust vector control system was still functioning properly, and so the vehicle was able to cancel its horizontal velocity and go straight up. It looks like it would have landed on the beach had the TVC not worked. So luckily it did work. Anyway, this is another problem SpaceX surely does not want to have happen at any point during the next flights, because they not only need to control the vehicle during ascent, but also during the descent to try and land the booster softly in the ocean, exactly where they want it to land. So there you go, they surely have a myriad of other things to fix and take care of, but these were the issues I see and believe SpaceX will try to have fixed by the time they decide to launch again. So let me know what you think, I will see you again soon, take care, bye bye.